guys, Noah from here, back in another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Ghost Rider 822005's Batman Gotham's Prince stop-motion film. So, this is a 20-minute film, which is, first off, that's an impressive runtime. Like I've said in the past, I really respect a longer animation, and this is certainly one of them. So yeah, 20 minutes. Good runtime, and also I just really love the character of Batman, and not many people have made like stop motions about him. Like right now with the community, it really is just Infinity War and Spider-Man series. I know I'm kind of doing an Infinity War thing, but like at least with Avengers The Return, it's going to be different from Infinity War. I still will there still are some similarities, but I'm not going to rip off the movie like others do. So anyway, off topic, like I was saying, it is mostly just right now just mainly the Spider-Man series stuff, because I know Spider-Man is a great character and all, and I love him, but too many Spider-Man series out there, and most of my reviews have been on Spider-Man series. So I mean, I'm really excited to get into this because a Batman film, like, most people just make Marvel films for the most part, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I love Marvel. DC really doesn't get like that much representation as much. I feel like it's mostly just Marvel, which, I mean, I understand because, you know, Marvel, with the MCU is a masterpiece. It's amazing, but I feel like DC's not getting enough credit because of the mess that's been the DCEU, but, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, overall, Batman, he's probably my second favorite superhero behind Spider-Man. Most of the DC comics I've read are Batman. So, overall, coming into this film, I was pretty excited, especially because it's a Batman style motion, and before this I didn't really see too much from Ghost Rider, but I was still excited for this, and let's just get right into my review. So I'll start off with the cons, then the pros, and then the review score. You guys probably know how this works by now. Alright, so my first con is the punches. So the actual movement for the punches was pretty good. It's just that they were slow, and with them being slow, it led to them feeling pretty weak. Especially in the first fight, where, like the opening scene where Batman throws some of his punches, they were really, really slow. And then for the rest of it, it was just kind of slow, but like for a punch, it should only be like 2 frames or something like that, because it is a really, really fast movement. So just take less pictures for the punches so they don't look so weak. Like, I know you want it to be smooth and all, but punches still should be faster, so then it looks a lot better. So yeah, speed up those punches and take less frames for them. And animation overall at times was a bit too slow. Like I remember falling down in like the fight scene with Bane, I think, or something like that. When Batman fell, it was really, really slow. So yeah, for movements that are supposed to be pretty fast, don't take so many pictures for them. So just really keep in mind what movements should be faster and what movements should be slower. Characters slide while walking. For the most part in this, there were a few attempts at getting some better walking, but it wasn't the greatest. But at least there were a few attempts. But for the most part, characters just slide. So I recommend you watch All That Jazz's tutorial on walking if you haven't already. And just make sure you get some better walking in there and not just having them slide, because I'd rather have at least an attempt at some decent walking rather than them just sliding, because obviously people don't slide in real life or anything. So yeah, just work on that. And then, the Commissioner Gordon voice was pretty low. All the other voices were pretty good audio-wise, besides maybe one. With the Gordon voice, it was pretty low, a lot lower than the others. So just make sure you tell your voice actor or whatever to speak louder, or I don't know. Just do that. It is a little nitpick, but it is noticeable, especially with a person in a big role like Commissioner Gordon. So sets could be improved upon. They weren't terrible or anything. They were kind of average, I think. but I still think they should be improved upon because it is kind of just Marvel Legends boxes and plain cardboard, and I think those things should be like painted or something, and like getting some props in there, which there was for the police barricades. Those were some really, really good props, so good job on those. But yeah, just overall improve on the sets more, but they definitely weren't terrible. And oh yeah, speaking of sets, alright, in a few scenes there wasn't even a set. It was just kind of the house at times, like filming on his floor, and I just don't like when people just film in their houses. I get it with like Lotus 1, or if the house is like supposed to be there and it makes sense, but when you're trying to like make it a world or whatever, and you're trying to immerse people into that, you should make like sets for that. And it didn't bother me like that much because he doesn't film on his floor that much here, but it is still a con in the animation. Oh, the sound effects were not the best. Sometimes I felt there were some that could be added in, and then he uses like the same punching sound effect for like almost every single punch, which I don't like. And the actual sound effect I don't think is the best, but just make sure you get a variety of sound effects in there so it just feels fresh. I don't know if Ghost Rider knows how to pause a frame or something, because when characters aren't moving while speaking, the camera looks like it's shaking like just a little bit, and it feels like you just took like a bunch of frames for when they're just in one place and they're talking. And it is pretty noticeable, and also that can kind of lead into my next con, which is light flicker, and you can notice like the light flickering a little bit when you don't pause the frame. So yeah, just pause the frame whenever they're not actually moving, even though they should be moving for the most part, and he does have that, which is good, and I'll get into that more in the pros. But yeah, and the music was too loud at times, especially in action scenes. The music is really loud and it's hard to hear the voices, so just make sure you turn down the volume for the music in action scenes. For the dialogue scenes, when there was music, it wasn't that bad, and it was mostly like lower audio. But yeah, when you just have music so loud, it is really distracting, and when you can't hear voices, I don't really like that. Alfred's voice, all that jazz is playing. Alfred and Ghost Rider told me that there was something wrong with his microphone that made his audio glitch, and he only did it like one time at first, and I was thinking, oh, that's going to be like the only time that happens, but then it kept on happening, and so I just had to put that on the cons. And I think the Alfred voice was great, just that whole audio issue when it glitches. It's kind of weird to explain, but you have to watch the film to know what I'm talking about. Which, by the way, you should watch the film because it is pretty good. Oh, I don't like Batman's reaction to when Joker found out his identity. He was just kind of like, so you found out. And I don't know, it's just, I know Batman is a lot more calmer and doesn't really like have too much emotion at times, but I still think he should have reacted a bit more, like he could have put some body language there, animated that, and I think that would have been a little bit better. And then with the voice actor sounding a bit more surprised with that. And then the way Joker found out wasn't really the greatest, I guess, but I don't really have that much of a problem with it. I'm still putting it in the cons because, like, just because Batman has gadgets or whatever, that he is Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne's rich, not witch. I just think that's not the greatest way of finding out. I like that Joker finds out like on his own, but the way he does is kind of, I don't know about it, because like, for example, what if some rich guy is supplying Batman with these supplies, or Batman doesn't exactly live in Gotham City, or I don't know. There are a few things that I think are flawed with that, but I don't know, it didn't bother me too much. So yeah. And then another con with like that final battle scene or whatever is when Joker was like hitting Batman in the back with the crowbar. Batman just kind of Like, he was laying on the ground, but you could have used, like, the ab crunch, or, I don't know if that figure has an ab crunch or whatever. I think it does, though, but he should have just reacted more. Even though he's on the floor, he should still react, especially when a crowbar is hitting him in the back. So, yeah. And my final con is, I think it's pretty unbelievable that Joker survived a fall from the window down to the Batmobile. I just think that it's just pretty unbelievable. I know it kind of makes sense for Batman to survive that, but not really Joker, since he's just a regular guy. So, yeah. So that's it for the cons. Nothing too bad in there. Just kind of like the big things is the slow animation at times. A few of the things I didn't like with the plot, but and then sets was an issue, and the character sliding while walking. So those are basically the big things I have with the cons. The rest of the stuff is kind of nitpicky and stuff, and small things. It's still good to get the small things right, but yeah, just focus on those things I said earlier as the main things to improve upon, because obviously you're not going to improve like the squad wave level and just between one stop motion film, you know? So let's get into my pros. The animation, even though with some movements it's slow, it's still smooth, and I mean that's all there is to say. It's just smooth. I like the cinematography in this for the most part, and I really like how much camera movement he has in there. So as I've said before, I really appreciate camera movement, and I'm trying to incorporate that a lot more into my animations, and he does camera movement pretty well for the most part here. Sometimes I think it's a little unnecessary, but I mean, I don't know. Camera movement is definitely better than still shots at times, because if you just have still shots for the whole thing, then it really feels stale. So it's good that I use camera movement, and I like some of the angles he has in there too. Voice acting was great for the most part. I heard that, okay, so the Batman and Joker voice actor were the same, and I could not tell that really, because the Joker voice actor was fantastic. His impression is so great, and I love it. And his Batman impression was awesome too. So, yeah, and then Alfred, all that jazz, he was great except his audio glitching. And then, I don't know who else is in there. Everyone else is kind of side characters and stuff. But yeah, I really like the voice acting in this. And then, the dialogue also was pretty okay. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was the greatest dialogue ever, but it serves its purpose and it's good. And the plot was good. I like the plot, even though it is a little basic, but basic plots are good, especially when it's only 20 minutes. I know 20 minutes is pretty long for a stop motion, but when you have a convoluted plot for 20 minutes, I just think that doesn't work. So, having a simple plot for just 20 minutes is pretty good, and yeah, I like the fight choreography in this. It is pretty creative, and I just enjoyed the fight scenes, even though I keep saying, even though the movements were slow. I gotta shut up and just say the pros. Yeah, but fight choreography, it was creative, and it made the fight scenes a lot more enjoyable. The music choices were pretty good for the most part, and he just chose them well. And like the action music, even though it was too loud, it was still good music. Good job on that. I like the creativity with the henchman figures. I know it's like clone troopers and then some stuff from Fortnite, but I don't really care. I think it's, especially with those Fortnite figures or whatever, I forget where they're from in the game. I don't know. I don't really play the game anymore. I used to, like 2 years ago. But yeah, so I like the creativity with those figures. So good job. The effects are good. I really liked when he had the drawn rain coming down. I've never seen anyone do that, and I think it looked pretty good. And I really just appreciate the effort that must have went into that. Like, that must have been a pain to draw in every single frame and have the rain falling like that. So, yeah. I like the Joker as a villain in this. Ghost Rider really understands Batman as a character and also Joker and all of his villains and stuff in the world of Batman. This really does feel like a good, solid Batman story, and I really do like it. And I don't know, it just feels great to see someone really understanding the character of Batman and just really making a good story with them. So, yeah, Joker's a good villain. And I love the final, kind of one of the final scenes when Batman is about to kill Joker, and Batman gets stopped by Gordon, and Gordon was like, "Don't be like him." And I really think that was just a very powerful scene, and it was probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire animation. So, yeah, that was great. And the cliffhanger is also very good. I can't wait for the sequel. It was a super good cliffhanger, and I like the fact that Joker knows Batman's identity and can kind of use that against him. So, yeah, that was good. And, yeah, I guess that's kind of it for the pros. Overall, this was a really good Batman story, a pretty good animation. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Yeah, this was just a really, really solid film. It was good. Storytelling was pretty solid. The animation was smooth, and this just really respects the character of Batman and does him well. And the voice acting is also fantastic in this. So, my final score is a 7.6 out of 10. Great stop motion. You did very good on it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I can't wait for the sequel. So, yeah, great job, Ghost Rider. Make sure you guys subscribe to Ghost Rider, link in the description below, and watch the video because it is seriously a great stop motion. So, yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you leave requests for stop motions I should review next, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace out. Bye.